Hey, what is going on everyone, it's Flaming Kalava here, and finally after many years of the same repeated looking games, the Kirby series finally comes back with its first ever 3D style game in the series. This game is a breath of fresh air into the Kirby series, giving us a fully explorable 3D levels, a lot of different collectibles to collect, lots of different copy abilities, and much more. So in today's video I'll be reviewing Kirby and the Forgotten Land. There will be spoilers in this video, so proceed with your own caution. But anyways then, without further ado, here's my review for Kirby and the Forgotten Land. So I think we should start off with Kirby's transition into 3D, as this is a big part of the game. The Forgotten Land is Kirby's first 3D game, and they did a really great job with transitioning the game into a 3D environment. Not only does Kirby control extremely well, but all the copy abilities and the levels themselves feel very well done and really remind me a lot of Super Mario 3D World, which is a really good thing. This is a perfect way to transition the series into 3D in my opinion, and it only goes up from here now. As for the level design and the worlds, the Forgotten Land has some very good level design, and I love the theme of the worlds. The whole game takes place in a sort of abandoned-like world, which can really be seen from the first world in the game, which is really cool combined with some of the places you go to. There is a little bit of your traditional grass, ice and sand sort of worlds, but then there's some really cool locations, such as a freaking abandoned park, which is really cool, and the levels themselves were really awesome. Some that really stood out to me were the beach levels, Allenville Mall and the theme park levels. There are some levels that give you gems to upgrade copy abilities, which are small bite-sized levels for a copy ability, and these were really creative sometimes and were a nice break from the main worlds of the game. Speaking of, the game does have copy abilities like other Kirby games, and these were all really cool. Whilst this game only has 12, which is a small amount compared to other Kirby games, they can be upgraded, plus there are some new ones like the drill and the blaster. I really like the drill because it reminds me a lot of the drill power up from Super Mario Galaxy 2, except it's much more smoother here. And the gun is a little bit slow to use, but its upgraded form is very OP. Whilst there are only 12 copy abilities, one new feature of this game is mouthful mode, which allows Kirby to inhale certain objects that are in the world of the game. This is a really cool addition as it's really creative and makes me appreciate the set design of the game even more. Kirby can turn into a car, vending machine, and many other objects which are used in really creative ways in the game, and it's honestly just such a creative feature. Each of the levels also feature collectibles, those being Waddle Dees and the Leon Souls in the post-game, but we'll get to the post-game later on. Now the Waddle Dees were all really great to collect, and some of the objectives were a little bit difficult or really vague, which really had me looking out in certain levels. The Waddle Dees can then be used to upgrade Waddle Dee Town to have more things to do with it, such as adding an arena or a fishing area. I'll also briefly mention some of the small details of this game which are just really wholesome to me, such as Kirby waving or Kirby having a tube around him when he enters the water. Small details like this just make me really enjoy this game and really put a smile on my face. The game may not be the most difficult game ever, but it's not the easiest game too. Surprisingly, there was a little bit of challenge near the end of the game, and the post game and the bosses were also really challenging here too. The game didn't take me too long to beat at first. I definitely thought the game was a bit shorter, but surprisingly I think the length of the game is just fine. Maybe a little bit longer would have been nicer, but it was still a good enough length. The bosses are all really unique, and some are pretty challenging, especially if you want to get some of the Waddle Dees. I really like some of these fights, and the final boss in both the post game and the main game are both surprisingly really difficult to beat. The story in the Forgotten Land is definitely not something that's super interesting, as the game mainly focuses on the gameplay. However, the soundtrack is very well done and has some really great themes. It really reminds me a lot of those comfort-like Nintendo games, which I love. And finally, the post-game content involves you going around into levels that are basically a collection of the levels from a world in the main game, and collecting souls for Leon, who is the lion character from the main game. And I think that this is a really good post-game to have, especially after getting that really difficult Morpho Knight fight in the end. So overall, I had a really good time with Kirby and the Forgotten Land. After being disappointed with Star Allies, the Forgotten Land was a really needed change to the series, and seeing Kirby finally make the jump to 3D makes me really happy, and the Forgotten Land does a great job at transitioning the series into 3D. It honestly only really goes up from here with the Kirby series, and overall I give this game an 8 out of 10. few more copy abilities and stretching the game out to a little bit longer would have been nicer. I think that this is a very well done first game for the Kirby series going into 3D. So that is my review for Kirby and the Forgotten Land. Sorry for the lack of reviews and bigger videos like these this year, since all I've really made for the channel this year are unboxings and reactions, but my life has been really busy ever since I got a job, so it's been hard to make videos like these. Okay, so it's Future Collabo here. I'd just like to say, as you can see, I'm editing this video right now, but I'd just like to say thank you guys so much for 300 subscribers. I know right now we are, I know right now we are at 298 subscribers, but before I was actually at 300 subscribers, but I guess I just randomly dropped down. So thank you guys so much. However, for 300 subscribers, I'll be doing a special video, even though right now like we are at 298. We did technically hit 300 at one point, so let's get back to 300, but I'm anyways working on some special stuff for 300 subscribers. So just would like to let you guys know that, but let's just put this in the video right now and continue editing it. I hope you all enjoyed this video. Then if you did, leave a like, subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.